Welcome back for our March update. Here we are at Crow Creek Access, and one thing we want to talk about is again the commitment that Duke has to all these public landings and facilities around the lake. Just coming in here today, we saw that the road had been repaved coming all the way up into the parking lot, and then as we got here at the top of the hill, there's a little building up there. You've got men's and ladies restrooms that are brand new. Right there at the parking lot, the little kind of brownish, dark brown looking building. So again, just Duke's attempt to continue to improve the facilities around the lake. So it's certainly nice to have that. As we look behind us, we'll see the reserve, which I think most people are familiar with the reserve and the Jack Nicklaus Golf Course. And I was standing here before we started, you know, you start thinking, are there things happening on the lake? Well, look right back behind us. You can see two huge houses being built up there on the hill, and again, those are reserve homes, and you know, I would say certainly above $1 million easily for any of the homes that you see back behind us. We just got back from San Antonio, Texas. We were there again for the International Business Conference, sharing ideas with people around the United States at different real estate offices. And, you know, there are a lot of positive feelings. You know, certainly the attendance was down this year, and that was expected. But I'm going to tell you something right now. I think there are a lot of ideas out there that we shared, something we've tried even. We've had a deal last couple months where we had some folks looking at some of our house listings 2 or 3 times, and we ended up having the seller make the buyer an offer. And by doing that, we were able to create multiple offers on 2 properties within a week. So little things like that, you know, tend to give people that little extra push maybe they need, because hey, we all know there are great buys out there right now. Interest rates are low. So, you know, sometimes you have to think a little bit outside of the box, and that's what we did. Actually, we heard other realtors around the United States that have, you know, done some of these type of things too to help get the deal done on that aspect. So, you know, those are good ideas, and again, we picked up a number of good ideas. Another thing I want to talk about is the first-time home buyer. You know, right now there is an incentive, $8,000 tax credit for any first-time home buyer. Well, what does that mean? It means if you've owned a home before, can you not receive that? Well, that's not the case. If you haven't owned a home for the last 3 years, then you would be considered a first-time home buyer again. So as long as you know, your income is not over $150,000, is a joint if you're filing jointly, then you could you know, certainly get this tax credit. The way the tax credit works, if you have a property up to, let's say, $80,000, you would get the $8,000. If it is below $80,000, you get 10% of the purchase price of the property. So that incentive or tax credit will be available until December 1st of 2009. So there is urgency here to get out there and buy something. And again, the rates are low, we've got great values in the market, and now the government's giving us back money on a tax credit. So I've been certainly getting out there today thinking of people I would know that could take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. Here's another thought. If you have 2 kids, let's say going to school at Clemson or any of the colleges around, and you want to buy a condominium, and maybe they're a year or 2 apart, so you know your children are going to be in that condo for a number of years, they could go in and buy it, put it in both the kids' names, have the parent co-sign on this thing, and each child would get the tax credit. So think about that. $16,000, $8,000 for sons or daughters or whatever it may be. So again, there are a lot of things about this that I think people need to understand, because it's going to be a very short window of time that we can certainly utilize this. One thing we want to talk about, you know, are we in a recession? Well, sure. Worst one in 27 years. And I think the one thing that impacts us most about this particular recession is the drop of wealth. I mean, we're looking in general 20 to 30% of wealth drop, where normal recession you might see a 4 to 6% wealth drop, and that's significant, because people, when you start thinking about buying real estate or buying certainly second homes or extra properties and things like that, when you've lost 20 to 30% of your portfolio, it makes it a little tougher to get out there and do it. But again, I think as we move on into the second quarter of this year, it's going to be typical in the first quarter for jobs to go down and our lost job rate to be higher, because people are letting people off in January and February and even March after the holidays. And I think as we move into the spring and summer, we're going to start seeing some positive things happen out there that will get things going the right direction. Again, I'm ready to hear some positive stuff out there. The positive stuff for us this year, we've already closed over $3 million in real estate, and here we are just at the 1st of March. So we're on track to do much better than we did last year even, and we've still got another $1 million worth of closings just for this month. So, again, I don't think when I look at the opportunities out there, they're certainly out there. A lot of people are maybe getting in another business, but if you're a buyer and you want to come out there and find a good deal right now, absolutely. If you're a seller, you just got to be motivated. That's the bottom line. You need the equity in the home. We can get things sold if you've got the motivation to get your price where it needs to be right now, because there are buyers coming in the market. We've seen a significant increase since January 1st of people going to our websites and things like that. So, other things to talk about. Obviously, as we move into the spring, I love it because I love the warm weather and like to get out on the lake. And you always hear about March Madness. This weekend, I think they're going to be setting the field for the 64 teams there, and I love watching that. And I like to watch some baseball games coming up. So family and I are going to go to a game tomorrow night over at Fluor Field. Michigan State's playing Clemson in a baseball game. They're going to have it in Greenville, so I'm looking forward to that. And again, if there are topics you want us to talk about, call us, email us, whatever you need to do. We'll certainly get out there and get on it and bring any information we can back to you. But again, we'll see you next month. Positive attitude, because it's all going to be okay. I know that for a fact because we're making deals happen right now.